Not too long ago, we talked about what my top 5 Digimon games are, but something you guys didn't catch was the little tease at the end, stating that this franchise isn't without its blunders in the video games category. Digimon for a time was inconsistent with game quality, but it's gained a lot more consistency over the years with the overall great Nintendo DS lineup of games, and of course the last decade with Cyber Sleuth, Hacker's Memory, and Survive. And now Time Stranger's coming as well. Well, as I'm recording this, it already released. Since the comeback era, they haven't missed, and surely Time Stranger, when I get to play it, will be fantastic. Today I'm bringing you my, keyword, my top 5 worst Digimon games. Now I know some of you enjoy these games, and that's cool, to each their own, but from my personal experience, these are the ones I simply did not enjoy whatsoever, and at least 2 of these are some of the worst video games I think I've ever played in general. It's time to dive back in to talk about what I think are the 5 worst Digimon games, coming to you after the intro. Now listen, I know a lot of Digimon fans enjoy this one. Again, I personally didn't enjoy it. I didn't like it whatsoever. I can agree with the idea it isn't one of the worst, but at minimum it's one of the weakest we've gotten in the lineup, and sacrifices must be made for the video. The game is none other than Digimon World 2. Digimon World 2, I simply couldn't get into. It was such a massive drop-off and an unnecessary change from the foundation laid within Digimon World, going from an open-world RPG game to a very dull and boring dungeon crawler is definitely a choice. The story, the combat, the adventure in general just lacks so much charm that the original and World 3 had. This game to me is very grind heavy. It's a very grind heavy mess with an even more annoying Digivolution and training system than the game before it. Sequels are supposed to make things better, and to add to the good of what was done before, and it simply threw it all out the window with a major shift in gameplay and made pre-existing issues from the first game worse. Does not work at all in this trilogy, but there's far worse that came out than this game, and we will get to it. Brace yourselves and scream at me in the comments as you wish. Like an NFL team, it's good to get the blunders and mistakes out of the way early and develop and learn to make better things happen within your game. I've stated that the Digimon handhelds really helped launch the franchise into more consistently good titles, but the Game Boy Advance had to get the blunders and mistakes out of the way before we can get to that and have things develop better. Thus bringing us to Digimon Battle Spirit. I've talked about how much I disliked it in the first installment of the Digimon games video series. And good lord, this game to me is just an insanely slow and sluggish fighting game. But the grating music, the really dumb system that lets you win these battles, and just slow, bland, and sluggish combat tanks what could have been a decent game in the lineup. It's a slog to get through. The sequel isn't much better, and in fact it's without a doubt one of the worst Digimon games I have ever played, let alone being one of the worst games I've played. Which, funny enough, makes a good transition into the next game. I thought video game sequels were supposed to make things better. Why did Digimon Battle Spirit 2 make things worse and take out the semi-okay things the first game did? The roster, it feels smaller, and the game is exclusive to the Digimon Frontiers lineup, which means you cannot play as your favorite Digimon from the past in here. The combat still feels sluggish, and the gameplay itself feels even more choppy to the eyes and to the feel of playing it compared to the game before it. There's almost no redeeming quality for this game. Even the art style and graphics take a bit of a step down. This is another example of how not to make a video game sequel. The Game Boy Advance truly was a dark era for the Digimon franchise. You know it's bad when Digimon Kart Racing is probably the best one you've come out with during that time, and even then that game wasn't even good. Oh, All-Star Rumble, how I hate you so. You're one of my favorite games to talk about because I'm able to tell you how much I hate you. I'm sure a lot of you would be surprised this isn't at number 1, considering we probably talked about this one the longest in the 3rd installment of the Digimon games trilogy of videos. Digimon All-Star Rumble was a cash grab personified, raising our hopes for a Digimon Rumble Arena 3 with online capabilities only to smash all of it before it even released. Online was never planned, and the gameplay itself is one of the most conflicting I've played over the years. I want to like it, but I just don't. The combat is cool in a sense where you get so many of their signature moves in a cool light, and punching up other Digimon with the 2 or 3 combos they give you is cool. The graphics and arenas look sweet, but that isn't enough, and combat in general is just so vanilla. Not to mention they go back to the Rumble Arena 1 of doing things with Digivolution where you digivolve to your Mega for a short time, pray to God you attack enough to fill up your Ultra Move bar with the fuck all amount of time to give you to do that. Thing is, in Rumble Arena 1, this concept was a lot better to use, and you can actually fight back if your foe transforms before you. In All-Star Rumble, you're shit out of luck. You will get gangbanged at one end of the arena until you lose a stock or the Digivolution finally wears off. And even then, you won't know where the hell God put you on this planet after that beating. The story mode is also dreadful. The concept is solid on paper, but awfully executed. No matter which Digimon you play as, it's all the same. The same arenas, the same enemies, the same levels, the same ending, the same everything. It's ridiculously bad. And even the roster is smaller and worse than the last two games, with multiple key Digimon missing from the past two Rumble Arena games. This game is awful, and I hate it. It's by far one of the worst I've ever played, let alone being one of the worst Digimon games I've ever played. There isn't an honorable mention list for this top 5. Or hell, a dishonorable mention list if we're gonna be honest. We're just gonna dive right into what I think is the worst Digimon game out there. The evil and dreadful Digimon World 4 takes the spot for number 1. There is so much wrong with this game. Let's ask the questions we asked in Digimon Games Episode 1. Why the hell are the Digimon fighting with weapons? Why is it a beat 'em up? Why do they squeak when they get hit? What the fuck is that? Why do they walk like they have a vibrator launched in their asses? Why does this game even exist? Digimon World 4 is awful. If the concept of Digimon fighting with weapons didn't throw things off for you, everything else will. The game is one of the worst beat-em-ups out there, and it turns into an occasional platformer in some areas. The combat is awful, where each weapon has about 2 different moves and it's very sluggish to control and maneuver, especially during the platforming areas that pop up occasionally. You'd think with them giving Digimon weapons, there would be a pretty sizable list of moves and cooler combat, but that wasn't the case. The game is also unnecessarily difficult, but I'm having trouble figuring out if that's because it controls bad, or the long list of terrible designs and gameplay choices instilled into this pile of crap. Or I could just be bad at video games. I think it's a factor and a mix of all 3. For the bad games we talked about, I can point to 1 or 2 good qualities, but I legitimately couldn't tell you one redeeming thing about this game. This is basically the Spyro Enter the Dragonfly of Digimon games, except the only difference between them is that Digimon World 4 is functional. Maybe that's the one good quality. It works, it's just bad. Really, really bad. The game is also incredibly confusing. Even Digivolution is a chore and confusing to get. I played this game on 4 different occasions throughout my life, and honestly couldn't bear it after a while. I can finish and deal with bad games most of the time, but I just couldn't with this one. Yell at me in the comments as you wish with this list. Go ahead. I appreciate your guys' support. There's been a lot of love for the top 5 Digimon games video, and I greatly appreciate it, and for you guys sticking around. The new review is a big one that I've been dying to make for a long time, and unfortunately it'll take some time before it comes out, but it's gonna be a great one when it does. It's a big video revisiting some of the best platformers ever made. So buckle up and stay tuned for more reviews, and of course more Digimon content. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned. Jaybills Games signing off. See you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.